Well, hello. Welcome back. For those of you who are new, my name is Nikki Schumacher. I'm practically imperfect in every single way. This community seeks to help you love your families practically and imperfectly. Today we are talking about the coronavirus, and I will wait a moment for people to hop on. I don't know if this is the greatest time for all of my friends and community to hop on, but you can always watch the playback. And I made some notes about the coronavirus. Many of you know I have spent actually a good amount of time quarantined in the last year. I was on modified bed rest for half of a pregnancy, and then I purposefully chose to follow Leviticus 12 and 15, and those are the Levitical health code laws. That's a little redundant. The health cleanliness laws or the health code for a woman who has just given birth. So that meant that I pretty much laid low for about 80 days. And then now we have the coronavirus happening. And thus far, I was going to be able to say Idaho hasn't had any cases yet, but I just heard from my husband, if he's correct, that we just had our first case. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up YouTube on my iPad, so just so I can see if anybody joins. And I apologize for those of you who are watching the playback. I get really excited when I see my friends on here, so I usually will stop and say hello if I see your comments. I'm going to, okay. So, coronavirus, I don't mean to be, and you know what? I'm gonna grab my drink, and I know that that is like, hello, oh, hi. Hello, Andrew. Sorry, I'm gonna grab my drink, and I know that's not important, but it's important to me. Where's my drink? Where's my drink? Here it is. Oh, you're so sweet. Mommy leaves too many cups around. Oh well, couldn't find it, but anyway. So I don't mean to at all minimize the pain of anyone who is affected by this. I saw a lady the other day in a comment section say that she's 49 getting married for the very first time and likely has to cancel her big beautiful ceremony because of the coronavirus. You know, flights are getting canceled, and she's still going to get married in a smaller ceremony, but you know that this has affected a lot of people. So I don't mean to minimize that. I might have to go get the baby. She's happy in the swing over there. She's making happy noises, but I might have to grab her and let her be in the video. But at the same time, so I don't mean to minimize the pain of the coronavirus. I do think that we should take precautions with any health scares or anything going around health-wise. We should take the proper precautions. But at the same time, I'm not scared of this. I did live in China when I was younger, and while I do believe that this truly is a virus and we truly should take the normal health precautions that you would normally take, I do think that panic is worse than any sickness. Panic is worse than sickness and death. It just wastes your life. I also know that we really don't know. Do I believe the media over reports and loves to feed off of the panic? Yes, I do. Do I believe that governments lie and that the media lies? Yes, I do. Does that change the fact that we need to respect the authorities if they're closing down schools, etc.? No, we should respect the authorities over us and go ahead and take precautions. Wash your hands. I stayed home from my homeschool co-op today because I had a snotty baby. I actually also stayed home from church on Sunday because I had a snotty baby. Now we're fine. None of us have ever, by the grace of God, had any serious illnesses But I have elderly friends. There's a lady at my homeschool co-op also who is in remission from leukemia. So I'm not gonna take my kids, if they've got a runny nose or something, around other people. I have always been like that. And most of my friends are like that. And I do think that that might be why Idaho has been one of the last states to get a case of the coronavirus. It's a big homeschool state, and we're very naturally minded before jumping to medicine. And what that means is we practice washing our hands when we come in the house. If we've been out at the grocery store or at school or someplace crowded, that's a good time. You know, you take a bath before you go and you take a bath when you get home, just to, you know, if our local Walmart serves the whole valley, that's a lot of people that you just came into contact with. So people here are pretty naturally minded in just thinking of those precautions and staying home when they're sick. We also homeschool. A lot of us homeschool, so that just lowers the it just lowers the contact or the opportunity. I did want to say that just from my perspective, having been basically quarantined for like the last year, and then, you know, during all 3 of my pregnancies, I spent a good amount of time at home. Like seriously, over the last 7 years, I've been home for 5 of them. There are certain things that you want to do to keep yourself healthy, and staying home does not mean staying inside. Sunshine and fresh air are so important. They are vital. So if you are in one of those places where you have to stay home, your school has been shut down, your work sent you home, stay home, but don't stay inside. Spend a good amount of time in your garden, in your yard. Take a walk around the block. That doesn't mean, oh, I'm gonna have to try to, I'm gonna have to grab the baby. I will be right back. She's just right here. Where did mommy's drink go?
Hi, baby. Hello. I don't know what I did with my drink.
Oh, where'd mama's drink go? What did I do with it? Oh well, let's just drink this one. Okay.
Can I have milk?
Yep, I think you're a big girl and you can pour it. Just be really careful. You don't spill it with your book.
I'll be extra careful. Extra.
Well, hello. Say hello if you're watching, and if you comment, I will say hi back to you. So, this is our little she-bear. Don't you just love her hair? I can't get over it. Oh, you know what? I have a light here that I meant to turn on. Don't know if that'll make it better. I don't know. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I'm still learning this light, and it's kind of hard to see while you're using it if it's any good, if it's on the right setting, so I apologize. I think that looks a little brighter so that you can see. Side note, I actually recorded and edited a video for, like, I'm getting used to having 3 kids, so I'm very excited to say I've recorded a couple videos and almost done editing one that's not just a live stream. So part of that is due to the fact that I got a new phone. Yay! So let me know if the lighting is like too bright, if you guys want to comment on that, or if it's too dark, let me know, because I can adjust the settings. Hi, so, and also if anyone would like to remind me where I was, that would help too. So I have already stayed home a lot, so I have learned a few tricks up my sleeve on how to stay sane when you can't go anywhere, or when you know that you shouldn't go anywhere. I shouldn't say can't, because you can go somewhere, but it might not be the kindest thing to do, to go spread our germs to people who are immunocompromised. So, see, you want to be in the shot? You wanna be in the shot? Oh. Yeah. Okay, so she has to be here to be happy. Sometimes when we are 5 months old, it's just the happiest place is to be with mommy, and that's all there is to it. Say hi. Hi. Hi, you're so sweet. So yeah, please go outside. Vitamin D from the sunshine and fresh air is so important. Walking out in the dirt to get those microbes is going to boost your immunity. So I've heard a lot of people say, oh, don't worry, I won't be outside much if they post a picture of themselves outside, not around other people, mind you, just outside, like walking to their mailbox or something. And that is the worst thing you can do, is not go outside and get fresh air. So I just wanted to remind you of that. For me personally, I like to go through a drive-through and pick up a cup of coffee. If I haven't seen other humans in forever, it's just very depressing to be isolated for too long. So you can go through a drive-through if you feel like you're healthy enough to do that and you're not gonna spread sickness to anyone. Wash your hands, get your little coffee, say hello to another adult who serves you your beverage, and then drive home and wash your hands. And I just don't think that that's very much contact, especially if you're somewhere like I am, Idaho. Until this morning, we hadn't had any cases of it, and I think now we might have one. We're a pretty low population state also. We're pro medical freedom. It's so funny, there have been a few health scares that Idaho was one of the last states to participate in the sickness, and also got hit mildly. And I do believe that part of that is we homeschool, pro medical freedom, so people can follow what they want to do when it comes to their health. And sometimes you know in your gut something that is good for you and that is not good for other people. So I ordered grocery delivery, and for those of you in more rural areas, my heart goes out to you. When I was pregnant with my first on bed rest, grocery delivery did not exist around here. Idaho, at that time, our biggest city was pretty rural, and so grocery delivery didn't exist. And if I was out of groceries, we had to spend time on Andrew's only day off getting groceries, and that's kind of difficult if you only get one day off and you have to spend half the day at the grocery store. I watch a channel called Health Home Happiness, and I was actually watching her while I was in the bathtub, and she said something that really convicted me because I had just walked home from the corner store with a milkshake in my hand. She said something, it convicted me, and yeah, I completely agree. There is no excuse to be eating sugar right now. None. Oh my goodness. We all know that sugar completely tears down our immune system. And, you know, if the hospitals are really crowded where you are and you go ahead and eat sugar and get pneumonia or something, it's not the normal time, because if the hospitals are crowded and you can't get in to get what you need, that's just not an optimal situation. So right now, there's really no excuse to be eating sugar. And when she said that, it just hit me in the forehead like a ton of bricks, because she's right. It's absolutely right. And there are so many delicious alternatives to sugar these days. We're so lucky. Lily's chocolate is made with stevia. You can also easily make your own chocolate. Just heat up some coconut oil and throw some cocoa powder and some stevia in there. Mix it up, put it in a mold or lay it on a plate and stick it in the freezer for a little bit. I think it's not very long. Hey, Leona, how are you? Good to see you. So yeah, you can make homemade chocolate very easily. There are tons of recipes. You can make homemade smoothies. Had I made a homemade smoothie or shake, I could have had a sugar-free version of the milkshake that I had yesterday. And yeah, that was kind of a bonehead move. We really shouldn't be having sugar right now. There's no reason for it. I'm gonna look over my notes. So once again, I'm going to summarize. Yeah, sure, take precautions. Is there a possibility that the government and the media are over-reporting the numbers and tweaking the numbers and skewing the numbers in order to scare us right before an election year? Well, historically, that's what they do. And how many of you have ever been present for a news story and then saw, like, something in your life you saw happen and then it was on the news? Sounds yummy. Quiet Friday with naps. Okay, cool. Cool. Hopefully I understood what you're saying. How many of you have seen something in real life and then it hit the news and the news got it wrong, or they got it mostly wrong, or they got it completely wrong, or they got it right but the numbers were off? So I used to work at the prisons here, and also I used to live in China, and when the Chengdu earthquake hit, the news reported one thing, and my friends in China told me another. My friends who were there, eyewitness accounts, told me, no, that's not actually what happened. Here's what happened. And it was major. It was a major, like, the news scared the daylights out of me. It told me that an earthquake hit and the epicenter was Chengdu. Well, Chengdu is where I used to live, so that really, really scared me, and it impacted my heart. Then I talked to my friends and they're like, no, the epicenter was several miles from Chengdu, and the epicenter was not Chengdu. I never heard the news correct that. Never. I never heard anyone in the news report that accurately. And yeah, it was a major component of the facts was completely, that really changes the outcome big time. And also, I worked at the prisons. I saw a lot of things go down in real life when I worked at the prisons here in Idaho. And then every time we saw it reported on the news, whatever happened, whether it was a fight broke out between an inmate or someone escaped or who knows what, different things that can happen, the dramas that could be associated with prison life, the news never got it right. And it would be major, just major plot they would completely get wrong. So sure, take all the precautions you can, but why waste precious emotional bandwidth freaking out over something that may or may not be accurate? In fact, the reporting is probably not accurate. To tell you the truth, the news thrives off of reporting things worse than they really are. And we all know that panic can really make us sick. So I hope that helps to encourage you guys. And of course, above everything else, pray. And I did want to share one more thing. Leviticus 15 talks about if a man has a discharge from his body, that discharge is unclean. And you can read Leviticus 15 for yourself. To me, a discharge from your body could be a runny nose. Like my baby had a runny nose today. And she's happy. She's feeling fine, as you can see. Are you smiley? Are you smiley? Look, she's so happy. She's fine. But out of respect to other people, we stayed home. Didn't we? Did we stay home? Yeah, we stayed home. And while I don't think that you are sinning or disobeying God or anything if you don't follow Leviticus, there is some good wisdom in there that has been there the whole time. So it goes on to say if someone has a discharge, they are unclean. It doesn't say they should stay home. It says they are unclean. Basically, they wouldn't go to temple, which would be the main crowded area in their culture. For us, we don't have temple. We might have church. We might have school. We might have crowded grocery stores. There, the temple would be also where they would do their buying and selling, and as well as their worshiping. So their health code basically was like, if you have a runny nose or any sickness that makes you discharge from your body, you would stay away from the temple until the runny nose goes away, plus 7 days is what it says. It says count for yourself 7 days and then take a bath and you'll be unclean till evening. So if you have a runny nose, take a bath, and for 24 hours you're unclean, and then count. Maybe I should just read it to make sure. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Speak to the sons of Israel and say, when any man has a discharge from his body, his discharge is unclean. This moreover shall be his uncleanness in his discharge. It is his uncleanness whether his body allows its discharge to flow or whether his body obstructs its discharge. Every bed on which the person with the discharge lies becomes unclean, and everything on it which he sits becomes unclean." So I would be considered unclean because I'm holding my snotty baby all day. Anyone, moreover, who touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean till evening. So this is just normal precautions like bathing, hand washing. Wash the clothes that the person was sick on. And whoever touches the person with the discharge shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean till evening. So if you've come in contact with a sick person, you're going to be unclean for a day. Go ahead and wash your clothes. Take a bath. Likewise, whomever the one with the discharge touches without having rinsed his hands in water shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean till evening. Now when the man with the discharge becomes cleansed from his discharge, then he shall count off for himself 7 days for his cleansing. He shall then wash his clothes and bathe his body in water and will become clean. So that's just some really good wisdom. You know, it's just the wisdom that's always been there. And that gives me a lot of comfort to know that it's not going overboard, you know, if you're sick, to stay home for a little bit. It can be isolating, so be sure to, you know, give somebody a phone call, text message. If you're not sick, maybe, or you're not having to take care of someone who's sick, this might be a great time for you to serve others. Maybe ask, especially if there's some elderly people in your area, you know, hey, is there anything I can pick up at the grocery store for you? That would just be a very kind thing to do. So I hope this has been helpful. Hello to everyone who is watching. And I'm excited to get I'm excited to get the videos up for you that I have recorded recently. Can you say bye-bye? Can you say bye-bye? And if there are no more questions and comments, I think we are going to end here and cook some dinner and do some fun activities with my kids. They were kind of bummed that they had to stay home today. Anyway, I love you all. I hope you know you are good, you are precious, grace and peace.